Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good evening, everyone, and good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another Q&A session, and today is day 5. As the title suggests, we're going to be talking about fifth precept. In Pali, we know it as Suramire Manjapamada Thana Viramani Sikkhapada Samadhyam, which means as a layperson, you accept the training rule to refrain from taking food and beverages to an extent where you are not being unable to make a sound judgment of any thing in your life. So you know the limits and all that. But basically, this precept is set by not intoxicating. So intoxication is the main point of this precept. Let's take a look at the questions that people submitted. At the same time, I want to give you a background knowledge before I jump into the questions. Okay. So now this is basically about abstaining or refraining from consuming alcohol or any other recreational drugs. Now, there's a weird thing in the Western society because people have this collective acceptance of, consuming one of the very dangerous drugs called alcohol, right? So there's a collective acceptance about it. I know that in every society, both West and East, they consume alcohol. I mean, different people. But when it comes to the Western society, we see that it's kind of a collective acceptance. Nobody questions about it that much. So it's both alcohol at the same time, recreational drugs. So the fundamental idea in the Buddhist teaching is to understand that alcoholic intoxication clouds the mind. So when something which comes in the form of food or beverages, cloud the mind, then that is a setback for a Buddhist person to, continue his or her path in the path factor called right mindfulness, sammasati, the Noble Eightfold Path. Now, the fifth precept, not intoxicating, includes not even alcohol, I mean narcotics and other drugs. I would say, these drugs as well, cocaine, heroin, all those drugs, because they alter the state of consciousness, and over time people become very addictive, like physiologically addictive to those things. So now when we talk about alcohol, we need to understand something very interesting. Now, this precept goes by Sura Mere. Now, fundamentally, we understand Sura means alcohol, and Mere means, I would say, Sura means fermentation, fermented alcohol, and Mere means distilled alcohol. So fermented alcohol and distilled alcohol. So we know that distilled alcohol is more dangerous, more addictive, right? Compared to what you call fermented alcohol. So Sura means fermented alcohol, and Mere means distilled alcohol. Now, in Buddhist teachings across the Sutta references and Vinaya, we see that there are 4 types of what you call alcohol. that we find out. Now, one type of alcohol that we find is sura. Now, this is basically, brewed from rice or flour. We call it, pittisura, batasura. So they all come from, you know, from a place called Sura. I mean, uh, wherein which we see that the contents, they are brewed from rice and flour. Mare, as I told you in the introduction, distilled alcohol made from sugar or fruit, and sometimes flavored with sugar, pepper, or the bark of a certain tree. So Sura and Mare, so fermented and then distilled. Third type of alcohol we see in the text is Majja. Now, Majja is interesting too. Majja means kind of an alcohol made from honey. Okay, so alcohol made from honey. And the fourth type of alcohol is called Asava. This is not the Asava which you understand by what you call defilements. Asava, the type of alcohol called Asava, is made from the juice of the Palmyra palm or the wild date palm, and it could be either just brewed or distilled. So in this way, there are four types of alcohol, alcohol stuff. So Sura, Mare, Majja, and Asava. So now we know that the most obvious danger of intoxicants is the fact that they tend to distort the sensibilities and deprive people of their self-control and the power of judgment. So the self-control and the power of judgment, they too make up somebody, an individual, as a good being. So if you lose your self-control and power of judgment, then things go really haywire, and then you never know that where you're going to end up. But as I brought up at the beginning, now this moderate drinking, right drinking, these are kind of conversations that go in the Western society, because in the Western society, people kind of like collectively accept drinking a little bit. They say, I want to actually quote the article, Buddhism and Alcohol. Is there such a thing as right drinking? Written by Lodro for HuffPost in a couple of years back. So people, they have their own views, but I just want to say that, when something kind of a use of food and beverage going to different countries, cultures, people consume them different ways. So we cannot say it's wrong or it's right, correct or incorrect. But in the Western society, they have this collective acceptance more than the other societies, because in other societies, they have a huge, what they call a taboo about drinking alcohol as well as selling alcohol. Okay, so Sura means fermented alcohol. Mare means distilled alcohol. Now, so we understand fermentation. What is fermentation? Now, we have to understand fermentation and distillation before we talk about refraining from alcohol, because people never know what is going on with these two, right? Now, in the past, if you get to know what is meant by the fifth precept, people might not be really concerned about what is inside the precept. They might think that we can drink alcohol. But I want to give you kind of a precise, kind of a clear thought about fifth precept, going beyond the generic meaning and then catching up with the Pali terms. Sura, fermented alcohol, and Mare means distilled alcohol. What is fermentation? Now, in the fermentation, what happens is that fermentation involves the conversion of the sugar into alcohol through the digestive process of certain yeast. Now, we know that this is kind of a normal process, that when you eat some food made made of wheat flour, right? So you give some time, like even some of the favorite snacks at some point. Fermentation can produce a higher alcohol content than can be tolerated by the yeast. So the level of the strength of alcohol is based on how much is a particular type of yeast, uh, bring with the type of yeast. So it's sort of already within a certain margin when fermented alcohol is made, uh, compared to distilled alcohol. However, higher alcohol content can be produced by heating the mixture and then condensing the resultant vapors, a process called distilling. Now, this is where people can see beer and whiskey kind of stuff, right? So that is what we understand by distilled alcohol. So all these famous alcoholic beverages, I would say whiskey and what you call beer, they all come in distilled format. Now the distillation of beer, the beer produces whiskey. So, the thing is that we could say the distillation of beer produces whiskey. The distillation of wine produces brandy. So distillation goes in a certain way, and we know that American whiskey is distilled only once. Scottish whiskey distilled 2 times. I would say double distill and charcoal filtered. Irish whiskey triple distill. So distillation happens in multiple ways when you look at these types of whiskey. American, Scottish, and Irish. So you understand that distilled alcohol beverages forms, they are much stronger in terms of alcoholic percentage in regard to what you call fermented alcohol, sura. So Meria is most, I would say Meria is stronger than sura, but they all come under the fifth precept. At the same time, what we have to understand is that alcohol acts as a poison in the body. But you might perhaps see that it might be better, it might be good, in terms of external things. I would say cleansing wounds when used externally. But if somebody drinks alcohol, that really interferes with normal body functions and injuring organ systems when consumed internally. So it's a pretty bad thing health-wise. Now, when it comes to distilled spirits, I would say distilled alcohol or distilled spirits, they have a high alcohol content, really can produce far deeper and more rapid intoxication. So intoxication is very rapid, so potentially leading one to be unconscious and to die. So therefore, these two make up this precept called Sura Meri. So what I have to say is that distilled spirits, I would say distilled alcohol is much stronger than the fermented alcohol, like alcohol that you can see from food made from wheat and I would say wheat flour, or by rice and all that. So just to see the difference between these two types of alcohol. So when you say Sura Mere Majja Pama Dattana Veramani Sikkhapadan Samadhiyami, so you refrain from using Sura Mere, which means fermented liquors. I would say fermented liquors made with powdery substances. Mere, distilled liquors made with nectar, sweet liquid from flowers or plants. Majja, intoxicating liquors made by fermenting the above two types. Now, Sura, Mere, Majja. Now, I explained to you at the beginning these three in a very clear way. Sura means Sura is type of an alcohol, was brewed from rice or flour, and Meria is means a distilled alcohol made from sugar or fruit, and sometimes flavored with sugar, pepper, or the bark of a certain tree. Like most of these famous alcoholic things, I would say whiskey, brandy, all the stuff. And matcha, this certain alcohol is made from honey. So when you what do you say, take this fifth precept, so you are pledging to yourself that you are not consuming these three types of alcoholic contents. So I would say fermented liquor and distilled liquor, and then liquor made from honey. At the same time, I would say the combination of these two. So you are pledging to yourself. And what can these three lead you to in your normal life? Suramiriya Majja, Pamadatthana. Okay, Pamadatthana. Pamadatthana means Pamada. Pamada means delay. Atthana is a state. So Pamadatthana, that which means a place of heedlessness, I would say, heedlessness. So when you consume these three, I would say fermented liquor, distilled liquor, and a combination of these three, then because of that consumption, it takes you to multiple places of heedlessness. You are negligent, you have no right judgment about what's going on, you lose your self-control, you lose the power of judgment. So these are very dangerous. So that's what you take by the fifth precept. Okay, let me get into questions. So in the meantime, if you have any questions, I mean, those who are watching this Q&A session, please post them in the comments below. So I will get into those questions after these questions, okay? Okay, the first question, why it is not directly a part factor of either Samma Kammanta or Samma. I have to rephrase it. So why is Sura Mere not a path factor in the Noble Eightfold Path? Now, we know Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva, Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. But in any of these path factors, we never see Sura Mere. Even you see Samma Kammanta, Samma, any of these components. But I wanted to tell you, now our final goal is to live every moment in mindfulness, right? The Buddha asks us to stay on to 4 establishments of mindfulness. So if we really want to tap into our mindfulness, if we want to be always spending time with mindfulness, consuming fermented distilled or combination of liquor or alcohol would not help us in real terms, right? So that is where I want to actually combine, I want to actually bring drinking alcohol into Samma Sati. So even though it is not apparent as a relative conditional factor, but we can understand that drinking alcohol or distilled alcohol, fermented, distilled, or a combination really delay us to tap into mindfulness. So it's a I would say it's a setback to practice mindfulness. Okay, so there is no problem why Suramire is not directly apparently mentioned in Noble Eightfold Path, but it's directly connected to right mindfulness, because it really destroys your sound mind, so that you can have self-control at the same time power of judgment. Question number 2, what elements need to be complete to break the fifth precept. Okay, this is what this is kind of thing that we've been discussing for all the precepts. So how can someone break the fifth precept? How exactly? What are the elements of somebody to break the fifth precept? Okay, there are 4 elements. Let me tell you. Number 1, there must be an intoxicant. So it could be fermented liquor, sura. It could be distilled liquor, mere. It could be majja, which means a liquor made from honey, or some people say, some texts say it's a combination of the both, sura and mere. In addition to these 3, there are other recreational drugs, like narcotics, I would say, a heroin, a cocaine, and all these, other drugs. So there must be an intoxicant, uh, in the literal sense. Number 2, there must be the intention of taking. So you should have an intention to take it, to use it, to consume it, right? So without intention, if you drink it, you can't break it. So you are intentional. You should be intentional to consume it. So the second thing is the involvement of your intention. Number 3, action must be taken to ingest it. So any activity, any strategy that you are going to implement to take it or drink it. Let's say there's a bottle of wine somewhere, and then it's wine, and you are really intentional. Why don't I have a sip of this wine? And then you are going to grab that bottle of wine or whatever. Or maybe you are asking somebody to bring it for you or something like that. So the third element. The fourth element is there must be actual ingestion of the intoxicant. So there must be an actual ingestion. So you should, if you're gonna drink it, if you're gonna consume it, that is the point where you're gonna break it, right? So you're gonna see it. That's the first thing. You may have intention, and you may do strategic things to grab it, and then you are gonna swallow, you are gonna drink it. So depending on how far you go in the process, sometimes some people they know this is this thing, and they might be intentional, they might stop at that point, so you are okay, but still you have come along the process. So but in order you to break the precept completely, you should complete these 4. Okay, so there must be an intoxicant, there must be the intention of taking it, action must be taken to ingest it, there must be actual ingestion of the intoxicant. Okay, so intention is a big part of this thing. How does the Buddhism see drunkenness? Okay, the Buddha says the delight of the fools. So if somebody is claiming that I was very happy, we were very happy with drinks, with fermented, distilled, those kind of liquors, Buddha says the delight of the fools, unwise people. Is smoking included in the 5th precept? Not literally, but if you think that this is something that makes you inconvenient, make you uncomfortable to make a sound judgment, and that makes you really kind of like incapacitate in terms of your lungs, so that you won't be able to make a sound judgment. So that means even smoking can cloud your judgment, because I know that when you talk about substances, I would say recreational drugs, smoking can be a part of it. So both smoking and these different types of alcohol, they are not allowed in this context. But there are exemptions. Buddha is not a dead cell. He's a very practical person. Can I break the 5th precept when I take medications containing alcohol or drugs? No, you are not breaking it. Now, if you, I would say, if you catch up a kind of a cough, you might need to take a kind of a cough syrup definitely these cough syrups contain codeine or those kind of drugs to a certain extent. But you are not taking it to like it. You are not taking it to be alcoholic. You are not taking it to uh, feel happy about the drugs. So taking medicines containing alcohol or intoxicating drugs for medical reasons, there's no breach of the precept, because your purpose is to cure yourself. That's why they say you have to take it at a time that you are not driving, you are not yeah, executing any machines, right? So they advise you when to take it, because I know their main point is that uh, medication needs to function within you by putting you to sleep. Otherwise, medication cannot work inside of you. That's why you feel like sleepy, drowsy. So medication wants you to sleep. That's why they have to recommend this thing. So there's no harm of taking it, because your main thought is not to keep you drowsy or to like it. So people who wanted to break this, who normally break it, they break it through those four ways that I mentioned earlier. Can I take alcoholic herbal products just because I love the taste smell? Okay, interesting, huh? Knowing that it is an intoxicant and still taking it for its flavor, taste, shows that one is not practicing self-control, because you like the taste of an alcohol, you like the smell of an alcoholic thing, right? So my suggestion is that if you someone who prone to who addict to alcoholic herbal products, you can switch to equivalent products that do not contain alcohol. So that's a different, because liking alcohol, even the smell and the taste, is not a good thing, because looks like that you are mesmerized with that thing, huh? Can a small amount of alcohol lead me to defilements? Well, the thing is that it doesn't matter how much you take consume it. What matters is that your interest to consume it, your uh, your liking towards it. That's what matters, not the quantity. Now, if you talk about the quantity, this is the weird uh, thought that I see in the Western mentality. Because Western societies, people think about the collective, I would say, thinking that it's okay. Sometimes it has been a corporate ritual, on Fridays in many countries, not even in the West. Uh, we are so stressed. Let's go and grab some whiskey, brandy, right? It has been a corporate ritual, right? Uh, I know, like there are situations where you can't run away from these people, but if you can find out different avenues so that you are comfortable, people may understand you properly. It's a good thing. So there are practical issues at some points, but try to find out the best solutions for these Buddhist teachings, so that you will find out happiness. It's not that this is a small quantity, so it won't make any problem. Don't think that way, because it doesn't matter the quantity. What matters is your understanding about your mindfulness. So anything that bothers your mindfulness, that bothers your power of your judgment, that bothers your self-control, should not be consumed. So uh, that is what I can say. Why is breaking the fifth precept the most dangerous one? It's pretty clear. When you are drunk, when you are not sober, when you are drunk, you will kill somebody because you are drunk. Because people do that, huh? They are drunk, they harm other people, right? And they steal other people's stuff, and they misbehave, and they lie. They do all the bad things. So, which means the fifth precept is the most dangerous precept. I mean, I would say, if you are not someone who is not practicing the fifth precept. So, for someone who is breaking the fifth precept, will break all the rest of the precept. That's why you have to be very careful. That's why I ask you, try to find out better ways to consume food and beverages, not go to the extent of consuming fermented, distilled, uh, liquor, alcoholic stuff, spirits. What are the possible harmful effects of drinking? A very good question. Now, Buddha clearly discuss about this, about six. I think there are six. Yeah, six drains. I would say downfalls of drinking alcohol. In the sutta called Singalovada Sutta, Digha Nikaya. Now he says in the Singalovada Sutta, Chakomi Gahapati Putta Adinama Suramereya Majjapama Dattanu Yogi Sandittika Dananjani Kalahappa Vaddani Roganang Ayatana Akitti Sanjanani Kopina Nidansani Panyaya Dubbali Karan Natveva Chattang Padang Bhavati Imeko Gahapati Putta Cha Adinava Suramere Majjapama Datta Nanu Yogi. Now Buddha clearly mentions to lay people, right? There are six downfalls of drinking. Let's take a look. Sandittika Dhananjani, immediate loss of wealth. This happens to many, right? Now, it can happen, immediate loss of wealth. Now, this includes not even drinking, but also use of drugs, being onto gambling and all that stuff. Kalahappa Vaddati, promotion of quarrels. People fight each other, commotions, right? Roganam Ayatana, susceptibility to illness. People who drink, they have issues, cirrhosis, they have issues with other liver issues, many problems. Akitti Sanjanani, disrepute. So people who drink, wise people scorn them, right? They don't like people who drink. Kopina Nidansani, indecent exposure, right? So you are very indecent. You are not polite person when you drunk. So that is another downfall. Panyaya Dubbali Karani, weaken wisdom. Your wisdom is disturbed. So your wisdom, now the wisdom is the most important thing. That is what the third we understand by third discipline, Sila Samadhi Panya. If anything destroys your three types of disciplines, especially the third one, you are in trouble, right? You are in big trouble. So they are the downfalls of, I would say, six drawbacks of drinking. And Buddha also talked about other five downfalls to lay people. Please keep in mind. So one of them is drinking alcohol. The second is, what do you call? Vikala Visika Charyan Yoga. That means frequenting, right? Frequenting in places where you are not supposed to frequent. Samajjabi Charana, extreme socializing. Juta Pamadattanu Yoga, gambling. Papa Mittanu Yoga, company with the unwise, bad friends. Alasyanu Yoga, being lazy, including in addition to these five, it is drinking. So these are the five downfalls for a layperson in his or her life. So basically, Buddha told that These six downfalls are there when someone drinks. What are they? One more time. Drain of wealth. Sorry. Immediate loss of wealth. Promotion of quarrels, commotions. Susceptibility to illnesses. You're getting sick faster. Disrepute. Indecent exposure. And weakened wisdom. So they are waiting for you if you drink. So be careful. You need to take extra caution, because you don't need to. You don't have to drink, because if you can. I know there are instances where you have no choice, but please understand different routes how to get away from these things. But if you drink just because you are depressed, if you drink just because you are unhappy, if you drink because you are too stressed, that is not a good thing. So you have time to think about it now, right? I'm not forcing you to stop, but I'm asking you to think about it. Reconsider what we are talking today, right? I'm not here to force you to stop, but I'm asking you to reconsider what's going on. Next question. Is moderate drinking good? Well, I don't think it's good, because in the West, it might be okay, but in my understanding, drinking in whatever quantity is not good, because you like something, because liking alcohol, liking even the smell, now talk about the taste, I don't think that is something that I can say it is good. So you can think about it further. Is there a limit or something regarding drinking alcohol according to Buddhism? No. But some people define that they can drink alcohol to an extent that they are not, they are not, what do you call, drunk. But in Buddhist teachings, we don't see that anywhere. Buddha says consuming this thing is no good, right? Because it really affects your ability to see things as they are. At the same time, it's a big setback to your sammasati. Okay. I like alcohol. Do I break the fifth precept? Yes, because you will make that happen. Not just because you like it, you are not breaking it. But I know that you will take yourself to the level that you're gonna drink it. So liking could be the first point where you are heading yourself towards actual drinking. So I don't think it's a good idea, but you can think about, you can reconsider. Is consumption of alcohol completely contradictory to the practice of mindfulness? Even one drop? Yes, because you're liking something that really troubles your mindfulness. You know that. So with that in mind, how come you're gonna like it? I say yes. Okay, what are your thoughts about this? Imagine someone who is suffering from some sort of chemical dependency. I know there are people who have some neuro type of issues. Call it psychological. Hypothetically, this person only knows how to feel confident meeting new people when they are drinking. For this person, believing that they can only practice Buddhism by abstaining completely from intoxicant will be completely disempowering. Well, I mean, I would take this person, someone who needs medical support. So I'm not connecting the latter part of the question. So there are situations where psychologists, psychiatric people also recommend some patients take some neurochemicals. So I don't think it is a harmful thing, because the thing is that person is under medical care. But we should not take it for recreational purposes. How can I drink without losing my head? Now, we repeatedly said that drinking is no good. Interesting, huh? How often have you seen an alcohol ad that ended with responsibly? What does that even mean? The alcohol companies aren't going to tell us, so we have to figure it out for ourselves. Well, I mean, marketing. There are a lot of marketing stuff going on about drinking. Nobody says that drink responsibly. So, what I understand is that regardless of marketing, if you know that drinking really clouds your mindfulness practice, I don't think you don't need any other thing to validate yourself about uh, to drink or not. So you know that it really clouds your thoughts of mindfulness. Okay, before I jump into the conclusion, let me see other questions that you submitted. Bante, what about taking tonic drink like ginseng wine as medical purposes for blood circulation? Okay, no harm, because we already talked about taking alcohol, consuming alcohol with a medical advice. So, I mean, if it was something that doctors advise you, that should be okay, because you are consuming it not to make you intoxicated, right? You are taking it to uh, take care of you. So it is okay. Don't worry about it. But if you think that you are having a difficult time going beyond the medical advice, you need to consult your doctor. Otherwise, I don't see any harm. You're not breaking the precept. What about cooked food that contain wine? Very good question. Now, in today's world, uh, you may use, this distill wine is a part of distilled alcohol. Yeah. So if you think that people want to add wine uh, uh, just to have a certain taste, just to have a certain what you call smell or liking, that could be a problem. Other than that, if people use that thing uh, now people might have different ideas about it actually. So I'm saying that if you can keep away from that, it might be better. But if you think that people are not infatuated, I would say if people are not intoxicated just from uh, a lower dose, that might not be harmful. But in the text, what we can see is that we should not consume distill, because wine is distilled alcohol. So we have to be careful when we are buying stuff, when we are adding stuff into our food. So something to think about. Are these actions breaking the precept? Well, if someone is liking kind of a food that is already with wine for a long time, and then that person keeps eating, keeps consuming for a long time, and over time that person is very intoxicated, I mean, that's something to think about, because then that person may break the precept. We can take a look at of the elements. There must be an intoxicant. Let's say now the kind of the food that you talk about has wine in it. There must be the intention of taking, yes, I'm gonna grab that food, whatever. Third, action must be taken to injustice. You are liking, you are asking your friend, can I have a, can I have a bite of this particular food? There must be actual ingestion of the so intoxicant. So you are drinking, you are eating that with so much happiness. So yeah, in a different way, you may break it. That's why I'm asking. So don't be too much onto the literal perspective, but if you know that you are adding distilled alcohol into a food, I mean, that's something to think about, because we know that sura means fermented alcohol, and mere means what do you call distilled alcohol. Now, even uh, at different places where we understand by uh, people who consume a lot of rice, they might be intoxicated when they take too much rice. We call it batta samad, right? Even when you eat too much rice, even when you eat too much sugar, you might perhaps be intoxicated, right? So that is also part of sura, because sura means fermented alcohol, right? So not even wine kind of food. So we are trying to look at uh, this particular issue in a way that you are not trying to be intoxicated. Perhaps you may have to use a little bit of wine in different ways. You are using not to make you intoxicated, maybe just as a food, right? But if you are adding it just to like it, a particular wine, just to keep you intoxicated, keep you drunk, that is bad. That is your intention, right? Other than that, I think they are. It should be okay. Otherwise, because you are not having any plans to be intoxicated. Because if you are trying to be intoxicated for something, for a liking of food, maybe just to get away from your problems, everyday issues, family issues, then it's a problem. Okay. Can we drink liquor as a medicine? What is the limit? There's no limit, but the limit could be the medical advice. So if you have a medical issue, then let's go with the doctor, because doctors never do it without a plan. So that is okay, right? Because you are not taking it as alcohol. You are taking it because the doctor is prescribing you, right? Otherwise, there is no issue. Bhante, how about, can we use liquor for cooking? Well, once again, the same question in a different way. Uh, the thing is, most of the food that we consume, when fermented, when distilled, they could be alcohol, right? Now, for example, I would say if you ferment rice, it could be alcohol. If you ferment uh, food, I would say based on wheat flour, it could be alcohol. But the problem is, what is your purpose? Are you trying to make a food so that you will feel infatuated, you will feel intoxicated? Is that your plan? Or is it something like a normal snack food that nobody's drunk and people know that things are okay? Then it should be fine. But if you're going to drink full alcoholic beverage bottles and all that, it could be a problem. But I ask you to have a healthy diet without alcoholic additions. But if you cannot, then please understand why you are adding it. Uh, if you're adding it just to keep you, uh, liking that particular wine part or the alcoholic part, it might not be a good idea, because because liking is a problem, right? Because when you keep liking something over time, that clouds your judgment, right? Now a lot of people, they are struggling, not just the alcoholic stuff, they are liking food really bad, very extreme ways, right? So if you like any food or beverage too much, that will lead to intoxication, be that fermented or distilled. So you have to take it that way, not that what food can I eat, what drinks can I drink. It might be okay also, but the bigger idea is, uh, do I have picky, likings towards certain food and what do you call, uh, beverages? So that is what we can actually keep under our control. Okay. Other than that, I can say that you can add certain things into your particular food making styles. You may add, but look at your purpose. Why you want to add it? Is it because you like that particular alcohol thing? Is it something that you like that particular food item only because you are adding that alcoholic thing, right? So you have to reconsider about all these things. If you think that you are part of liking only that alcoholic element, then you might perhaps break it. Otherwise, it should be okay. My respect to Venerable Master. Why are not we mindful during eating? A very good question. Now, the kind of information about the fifth precept bring us to uh, mindful eating. Because if we are really mindful about what we eat, what we drink, everything is okay. Just because we are not mindful about what we eat and what we drink, all the problems affect us, right? So that's why the Buddha asked King Kosala, whenever you eat, you need to, you should not fill up your tummy completely. Buddha asks us to leave some space in your stomach. He said by chattaro pancha alope abhutva udakampive, right? So leave some space in your stomach because we need some rest. We need some mindful space when we eat, right? So the bigger idea is mindful eating, mindful uh, uh, drinking, not about the alcoholic stuff, even the other things too, and the water. Okay. So what I can tell you, if you have more questions, please post them in the comment section. I can see them and I can answer them in the meantime. So alcohol consumption is inconsistent with a Buddhist quest because we are trying to understand and develop our mind, right? This is our main prime purpose. So in order for us to practice and develop our mind, we need calmness, we need serenity, we need time, we need presence of mind, right? So drinking distilled liquor or fermented liquor or a combination definitely harm us, definitely delay our thoughts in achieving the right mind, in achieving the understanding of the mind. So that is the biggest problem here. When your mind is not working properly, then you won't perform meditation well, you won't develop your wisdom, you won't develop your sila as because it's a part of the sila too. Okay. And the Buddha always taught us that true happiness arises within us whenever we let go of our attachments, right? So having an attachment to liquor, fermented or distilled, can be a problem. I mean, look at these ways. Not ask me how much can I drink, right? I mean, more than asking those kind of questions, it is good to see about attachments to food and beverages. That's a good way of looking at it. Many people are deeply attached to the feelings they experience when drinking alcohol. So, through meditation, it's possible to let go of this attachment. Buddhist meditation has been successful in treating alcoholism. So, uh, drinking is a big problem for meditation, right? And most importantly, many people use alcohol as a means of avoiding problems that arise in life. Buddhism encourages people to deal with life difficulties and challenges. It encourages individuals to view problems as opportunities to learn and grow. Now, a lot of people don't take problems as opportunities. They think it's a problem. They go and they drink. Buddha says, no, take your problems as opportunities to learn and grow. By practicing meditation, mindfulness meditation with Noble Eightfold Path, you are making your life so direct into happiness, secular happiness, as well as transcendental happiness called Nibbana. Okay, so I hope That's it. At the same time, I want to add something else too. Now, when we talk about pamad, pamada is no good because delay. Because Buddha asks us to practice appamada, which means diligence all the time. He also said that diligence has all the good things. I mean, all the other kusala virtues, they come under diligence. And he actually compared diligence, appamada, to a foot of an elephant. So all the feet of animals in the jungle can put inside the foot of an elephant, right? I mean, the size. His size is the biggest in jungle. In the same way, all the other virtues that we perform, be that metta, karuna, mudita, upekka, they all they come under appamad. So that's why you will lose appamad. You will actually go away from the practice of appamad if you keep drinking alcohol. I mean, distilled, fermented, and combination. So what we have to learn today is that let's be very mindful about us. Let's let go of our attachment to alcoholic stuff, but there are exemptions to medication stuff and all other things. But I'm asking you to reconsider your practice. I'm not saying that stop drinking. I'm asking you to reconsider how to make use of these things. But it's better to get away from attachments to alcohol and those kind of stuff, so that you will be free. You will be a person of free thinking, mindful person. You will discipline. We will be disciplined well. You will go on this path to happiness. In a very short time. So these are the benefits of and the important aspects of not drinking, so that you are not intoxicated. Okay, so that's it. Let's share all the good karmas with the departed people and the deities. May all the good karmas that we've been accumulating in all these ways be shared by all the departed relatives who passed away in the name of all of us. May they be happy and peaceful. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idammi ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñāteyu. Idammi ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñāteyu. Idammi ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñāteyu. May all the good karmas be shared by all the devas and nagas. May they protect all of us. May they also be happy and peaceful. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ittavata ammihi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahindika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhang tu lok sasanang chirang rakhang tu desanang chirang rakhang tumang paranti. Finally, let's make a great wish. May all the good karmas we've been doing so far be helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I'm going to be blessing you with a couple more stanzas. Please receive the blessings. Abhivadana silis nichang vadha prachayino chattaro dhamma vadhanti ayuvanu sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sankha sampatti mevache ato nibbana sampatti iminati saminjatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dhamma folks, we have an interview coming up on Friday. It's Friday morning in Ottawa time and Friday evening from Malaysian time. We're going to be talking about Buddhist apps. The importance of significance of Buddhist apps in the practice of your daily spiritual life. So please stay tuned, and we'll be having a flyer soon. Be safe. Please continue to safe as well. Take care. Have a good night. Have a good day. Thank you.